is a very good place for my arms to be when I'm in the passing scenario. I would love to keep his hands off of me and him on the outside until I'm able to get my posture or until I'm able to move to the standing position and then build my base up. Okay? You don't have to stand up. You don't have to gain posture first to stand up. You just have to stay free long enough to stand up. So if biceps are present, then you're going to be on the biceps. Now there are all kinds of fun ways to hand fight and keep guys 2-on-1s and stand up using a 2-on-1. But for me to grab his wrist is not hard for him to counter. One common thing that you might think about is, if you ask yourself right now, who's in control, me or Kyle, what would your answer be? This is something that's relative to jiu-jitsu everywhere. If you ask yourself right now, am I in control or is Kyle in control, what would you answer? What would your answer be? You got one? Good. Control is all relative. It is based on, am I doing what I want or am I doing what he wants? I have a grip on him. If he pulls his hand up to his shoulder and I follow him, and that is not what my goal was, he is controlling me through my grip. I'm not controlling him. I have a grip, but I'm not controlling him. If he puts his hand up to his shoulder and I follow, and I have just extended my arm in this scenario, and he pummels through, he doesn't even need to pummel through, he can hold my head and bang, go on a quick arm lock. I've just given him what he wants. Okay? So hand fighting in general is great as long as, in a closed guard, is great as long as I understand who is in control or when I am in control and when I'm not. If I am hand fighting and I'm going, hey, I'm all in on this wrist, and he brings his hand over his shoulder and he can even use the aid of his other hand, and then he uses his legs well and he pulls me in, I have not accomplished what I want to do. I'm not in control of this passing scenario. So we need to be very cautious on hand fighting. You have to understand that. If he pulls his arm up to the shoulder, I let it go and I get up. That's where I've been in control. If I don't want to be here, now if I want to be here, that's okay. If I have something to follow this up with, an elbow or something like this, it's MMA, that maybe that's relative. So I like to say generally that when you're passing, you own the inside. Okay? And I could hand fight to set up, do different scenarios, but I own the inside, biceps or tendons. If Kyle has an over tie of my arm, he's over the top. He's a collar tie, but he's over the top of my collar tie or inside hand. I need to own his tendon. I need to get my knife edge part of my hand and I need to put it in and under the chest, the pec tendon right here that runs into the deltoid. Okay? That tendon becomes an exceptionally good handle for me to attack. And it'll kill off this, it'll kill off a shin grip. We can take a look at that later, but it'll totally annihilate a lot of different problems for me on the passing side. So if there is no bicep present, right here is his bicep, but I can't own the inside. I can own the outside, which is another good option, but he's on the inside if I go here. For today, that's not what we're talking about. I have to own the inside in general. Okay, so if I own the inside, I want to be in and up on that tendon, and then I can start prying myself away to keep those inside ties. Okay, so let's lay down. I'll lay down now and look at what we need to do to overcome that problem. He's on the insides. Okay. First of all, what if he is hand fighting? What if he grabs my wrist? He's elected to do basically a 2-on-1 to start his posture. As I just mentioned, as long as I can use my other hand to lift his arms up and then use my legs well, wow, he's just gotten to the ground and I've now killed off hand fighting. Remember, we need to use our legs. I want to bring him forward. I don't want to let him hand fight me and just relax and have this posture. Okay? So if he's hand fought, we can use our grip or his grip against him to maintain that control. Okay? Back to the over tie. Okay? Now I've got an over tie. He's got the tendon.
This doesn't last long. My over tie will not last long if he is in on that tendon. So I need to get on my pummeling quickly. And what I prefer to do is open my bicep. Let him have the bicep. Because it's easier to pummel when he has the bicep than it is the tendon. Why is it relative, though, that he has my bicep? If he has the tendon, depending on the arena that we're in, this isn't good for him. If my bicep is out here to the side and he chooses a tendon and I were able to punch or elbow, it's not a good idea for him to have my tendon, okay? If he does have my tendon, here's what we'll do. We don't need to worry about the bicep anymore, okay? We go cougar paw. I call this a cougar paw, this hand where it's very thin. I'm not sure what it's actually called, but I like the term cougar paw. I think it's a kung fu term. And we go under the elbow, and then we are able to get our hand on the inside. I'm going to the head. I mentioned a little while ago, this is a two-stage process. Pummeling is a two-stage process if he knows what he's doing. This, we just explained, is going to kill off my over tie with relative ease. So what I really want, my ultimate goal, is to have a collar tie where I'm on the inside. This will give my second pummel a lot more power and I'll have a lot higher chance to get on my side. So I've got the inside. It's going to take him some time to re-pummel that hand. As that hand is re-pummeling, guess what we're doing? We are now winning the inside and creating an angle. And that's where our two-stage process of pummeling with the head is super important. Okay, so again, generally speaking, he doesn't have his posture right away, so I take a quick over tie. This will buy me some time, but if he's good with